All right, so today we are going to be going over just some of the things that maybe people don't know about or don't know how to do on the custom web pages on your custom web page that's offered through Howard Hanna. And I had a couple of questions about some other things that I'll try to cover as well. But if you do have any specific questions, if you haven't taken a class with me via Zoom before, generally what I do is I'll go over stuff and then I'll take a break and I'll stop sharing my screen and then I'll look at the chat to see if there's any questions, because it's very hard to see the chat when you're seeing a screen. So if I'm covering something and maybe you don't have a question, or I mean, you have a question, you can put in the chat. You can always speak up if it's on what we're talking about right then. But I tend to go off on tangents, so be careful what you ask for, because I could just start talking about anything. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take us in to GoHanna, and obviously everybody's familiar with this sort of thing. Now your initial page might look a little bit different because of the manager dashboard. I'm going to try to move some of this stuff out of the way. Never get the sidebar. All right. So when you go in, it might look a little bit more like this whenever you land in agent maintenance. All right, so just to sort of where I just went in, we'll start with some very basic things, but we're not going to cover a lot of basic things. You have to understand that there are two different pull down tabs up here at the top. One is for content and one is for profiles. We're going to dabble a little bit in both, but you want to pay attention because that seems to be a place where people are confused. I think maybe the first place that we can visit is, I'm going to take you to my actual custom website because I'm going to show you maybe what looks a little bit different on mine than how it looks on yours. So I think the first thing that you could notice is that when I typed in my website address, it actually landed on my About Me page and not on the home page that's provided by Howard Hanna. And I will show you how to switch that because that's probably the better place to land. If somebody is going through the hassle of typing in your web address, or if they're clicking on a link, you don't necessarily want them to land on the About Howard Hanna page. You want them to land on the About Me page, about you. Just for clarification, I refer to my custom website as chrismary.com. So whenever I say chrismary.com, I'm talking about your website, you know, as opposed to the company's website. All right, so we landed on chrismary.com and it landed on my About Me page, which I would advise for everybody to do. And then as we scroll down, you're going to see that it looks a little bit different because I have chosen a different design that you can choose, and I'll show you how to do that. Some things that I want to point out on the About Me page is that this is your opportunity to tell your story. So you shouldn't, and if you watch the More Than a Boring Bio video from Matthew Ferrara, you should know that, you know, when you're on this page, shouldn't be like a bullet point list. This shouldn't be a list of all of your awards, you know, top 10 producer, $1 million, multi-million-dollar producer. This should be something that's written in a storytelling style about yourself. But you want to be careful because you don't want to actually write a novel, because people will stop reading. So design-wise, you can see that it is advisable to break up your text with some graphics and some pictures. Everybody wants to see pictures of you. Everybody wants to see pictures of your personal life. You know, they want to know who you are as an entirety. They don't want a list of awards and recognition. So I have created just a banner up here of some houses that I had sold in the past that were, you know, stereotypical of the market that I worked in. They're obviously very city homes and, you know, within the city of Cleveland. I chose just a simple graphic to break up some text, threw in a picture of my family. And then I do have the bullet point list at the bottom because I couldn't just bring myself to get rid of it, because there are people that will like to read those bullet points. You'll see over here that there's an image as well. And if you were to go to your page and look at what your page looks like, it's probably not going to have this image because you haven't swapped it out yet. And I'll show you how to do that. So what I'm going to show you today is some of the basis of how to just do all of these things to make your storytelling a little better, to take advantage of the places where you can put additional images in as well. The other thing that we will pay attention to is over here on the right-hand side, you see the tab that says My Pages. And so this is your ability to build custom pages and have them hosted within your website. So you can see that I have pages on how to buy a new construction home in Northeast Ohio. And this page is super simple. It is an embedded video and a graphic and a link to my Real Scout. So I will show you how to do all of that. Another custom
Mary?
page,
Excuse me.
5 questions to ask before you buy a home. Now this is just an embedded video. I actually think I created this page to teach a class. And so it doesn't really have much on it. I probably should have some verbiage and things on there as well. I'm embarrassed to click on this because the market report is outdated, but this is a sort of reusable market report that I update and put on here for everything that has sold in the neighborhood. And you can see that I last updated it about, I don't know, 7 months ago. So if you're going to put something on there that needs to be updated, you have to update it or else it could make you look like I just looked. And then another example of something that's really easy to do is the brokerage had put together these really great graphics for recruiting, and it was the top 15 reasons. And so I literally just took a screenshot of every one of these graphics and just created a page. And once in a while, I'll share that. So this is an example of how easy it is to just take a screenshot that the brokerage has already made, put it on your website, and then you can expound on it. You can make it a bigger page. And then the final one, and you can just, I'm showing you these to just give you some ideas of what you can do with custom pages. So I own a Matterport camera, and so this is the page that we can advertise the Matterport camera on it. So it's got embedded videos, it's got some pictures that are put in there as well as text. So you really can do anything with these custom pages. When I teach Fast Start, one of the things that I tell people, if you're involved with something in your community, this is a great place to make a page about that, as long as it's appropriate for business. So let's say you have a kid and they're really involved in hockey. You could make a custom page over here on the right-hand side that's completely dedicated to that hockey league, and you could share schedules and stories and pictures. And then you're able to pull all those hockey parents in as a way for them to see what they want to see. Everybody wants to see pictures of their kids, right? Or information about what they're doing. And now they're on your website. So it's a really great place to host things. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that as well. But we're going to start first with the idea of choosing a layout that's more to your taste. So I am under the Profiles tab up here. And when you go to your agent maintenance, you're going to land on a page that looks like this. And you're going to see these 3 buttons that say Edit, Agent Site, and View. For the idea of changing layouts, we are going to choose Agent Site. And you're going to see a page maybe that you've never seen before, because people don't click on that button. You know, you don't know what it does. The good news about this admin for your website is you really can't break anything.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Could you please go back? I can't find what you're looking at, and
Sure.
I apologize.
It's okay. No, it's fine.
GoHanna.
I want you to be able to. So you're in GoHanna, and you are going to start off. I'm sorry, on this My Website Administration tab. And when you click on that, something that looks along the lines of this will open up. Should look like that, I believe.
Mine just has
from my website.
Am I going to my website now?
Yours has your website. When you click on profiles,
it says manage my site under the my website tab versus the profiles to find to get that design.
All right.
You go ahead and click on that.
All right. Yes. Now it just says agent maintenance.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got it. Thank
Perfect.
you very much. And I
Sorry,
apologize.
we have a couple extra steps on the manager dashboard, and I've really never looked at this from just a strict agent dashboard. So I don't know where yours starts and what I have, like, padded on the front end.
I don't know where it starts either. That's why I'm in this class.
So then you should
So-
see a tab here that says agent site,
Mary.
correct?
Just one more thing too, if you guys want to put any other comments or things in the chat as well, if there's other things you want to make sure we cover, I'll sort of monitor the chat as you go through this.
I just drag it to the left over there.
Thank you.
Melissa, I am going to make you a co-host just in
No
case
problem.
that gives you any more power.
Oh my goodness, I'm a co-host.
That way you can see if anybody needs to be let in as well.
Perfect.
All right, so we're on this manage my site page. And you guys, I am recording this. So if you like lose track, maybe stop and just catch up rather than, keep stumbling around and then miss the content. So we're on manage my site, and this is where you get to choose whether or not it lands on your about me page or it lands on the home page for the brokerage. I would suggest that you have it land on the about me page. This is about you, right? We're sending people to chrismary.com. If you change that, you'll want to hit update, so that will change it in the system for you. We're going to skip over Facebook Pixel ID because that is an entirely different class and I do not want to go down that path. So now we land on Hannah Designs, and you can see that the design that I have chosen is called design number 2. There are 4 designs. The default design, which you're most likely on right now because it's the default design, right? There's design 1. And I'm going to try to make this a little bit bigger and hope that you can see it. And I've seen some people who use this design. You can see how it's just a little bit sleeker. Design 2 is what I choose. And I'll tell you the reason that I choose design 2 is you see these little boxes here where the Hannah Home Finder is. Right on just about every page, you can put an additional image right there. So if you are somebody who likes to craft images in Canva or Publisher, you really like the creating marketing aspect of what we do. Design 2 is probably your best option because you're going to have just more places to tuck some custom things in. And then there's design 3. And you can see the difference in the homepage is the biggest thing for me. On design 3, it's very property heavy. You can see where it's got your primary listing, your featured listings, and the search is real big. I prefer design 2, so we're going to talk a lot about that one today. But if you do change your design, you have to click this set as my site design when you're finished. Down here at manage my site content, and you shouldn't have to go to this very often because these are some bigger changes. Oh, I'm sorry, not this one. We'll get back to this page in a moment, actually. This manage my site menu in the bottom left, this is the one you really should not have to be changing. And I would say don't play with this because this is when you want tabs to disappear from your page. The only time you might have something changed here is if you're a newer agent and you don't have any sales, you might want to remove the my sales. If you're still building up your review page, you might want to remove my reviews. But for the most part, I would just say don't mess with this. If you're in this group, chances are you have sales and you have reviews. So don't take those away. All right. So that was this agent site thing right here. If I click on to edit, this is going to take me to that main profile page. Now, the thing to remember about what we're looking at right now is what changes you put on this page, they happen on howardhanna.com, but they also impact what happens on chrismary.com. So this is what fills in the information for your profile on howardhanna.com. So if most of you were to look at this, you would see things that are complete. This is where during Fast Start, I tell you to hide your sold listings and then uncheck that once you have some sold listings. If your homes of distinction, that will be checked for you. You do want to make sure that display view my website is checked, because if somebody's on howardhanna.com and they go to your profile, it enables them with one click to go to chrismary.com. And you should have show app link checked as well. You do want to spend some time here once a year and just make sure that everything is current, you know, and up to date, fresh phone numbers, fresh photo. For your agent social links, you want to make sure that you're linking to business pages. Very important for compliance reasons, to look professional. You know, these should not be going to personal pages. They should be going to business pages. You know, I have to add my LinkedIn. I keep telling myself to do it. And I have to add my YouTube as well. If you don't have profiles on those places, obviously don't add them. And then this description right here, because there's a lot of talk about what's the difference between this description, this agent bio, and the About Me page. So remember, we're on agent profile, which means that this is howardhanna.com. So this is going to be your description that's on your profile on howardhanna.com. So it's not going to be in your About Me on chrismary.com. So when you write this, maybe you write it a little bit more general. You write it to somebody who would find you on howardhanna.com and then choose to go to your website. So this one perhaps should talk about your love of Northeast Ohio, your knowledge from A to B, whatever your market is. It's a little bit broader of a topic. This thing that's agent bio here, the only place that it really ever shows up that I've seen is in Hanna Presentations. So on the last page of Hanna Presentations, when it's got your picture, your contact information, and a paragraph, this is where that paragraph comes from. So what you can assume about somebody who's going to be reading this paragraph, they're doing some sort of type of business with you already, right? If they're getting a Hanna presentation from you, they're either a buyer you're working with or you're wooing, or a seller you're working with or you're wooing. So if you want to take that and make it a little bit more, this is how I communicate, and you know, about business and how you're going to do the business, that would be a good idea. And that's all you're ever really going to do on this page. Again, you don't have to come back to this very often, but for the purpose of auditing your website, this is where you would be looking. And if any of you have been in my Fast Start class, I talk about this languages, the slogan, languages, specialties, and feature property. Slogan, don't be in a rush to have a slogan until you know who you are in this business, because there's nothing worse than picking a slogan and you outgrow it, or your market moves, or you realize the market isn't where you thought it was going to be. So if I said your Lakewood Realtor, so my slogan mistakenly was your urban realtor of choice. And I realized when I wanted my business to grow, I needed to start selling homes that weren't in the city of Cleveland. And I went on a listing appointment in North Royalton. It was a horse property. And the guy looked at it. Everything said your urban realtor of choice. And he looked at me and he said, your urban realtor of choice. Why would I want you to sell my horse farm? I was able to talk my way out of that situation, but it's really important that when you pick a slogan, it's either broad and it's not going to sort of pigeonhole you into a market. I always tell people, don't pick one for the first few years because you still haven't figured out who you are. If you speak a second language fluently, and I mean fluently because this is a business situation, you know, make sure that you have that, because I know that as managers, we search sometimes for an agent that we need that speaks a very specific language like Farsi or Cantonese. And sometimes we'll just go here and run the search and say, okay, well, this is the closest person to my office that speaks that. We're going to give them this referral. And then in Fast Start, I ask everybody who is a luxury home specialist, and nobody raises their hand. And then I yell at them and I say, okay, I want everyone to raise your hand because every one of you is a luxury home specialist. So when you're picking specialties right here, you can pick things like custom home, dream home, luxury home specialist. The only thing I say don't pick is farm and ranch or land if you are not well versed in that, because farm and ranch actually has some knowledge attached to it. Commercial has some knowledge and education attached to it. So don't pick those things, but you can sort of tell your story here with whatever else you do pick. All right, so we're going to navigate away from this page because this is basic stuff. You've all heard this before in Fast Start. Your managers all help you set this up when you get started. So now we're going to go over here to this thing that says content at the top bar, that's a pull down bar. And when you land here, you probably land on something that looks like this is going to be my guess. And so you can see this is where I can change and create custom pages. These are all the custom pages and static Howard Hanna pages that that I've either created or have been created for me. And so most likely you have about me, my listings, my reviews, my sales, neighborhood news, your home search. And then that probably don't have anything else if you've never created a custom page. Everything else here are those custom pages that I've shown you, or other custom pages that we use. Like we have a Coats for Kids page that we use seasonally and then turn it off when we're out of season. So let's start here, assuming that none of you already have a custom page built. Actually, no, let's not start there yet. Let's start with About Me, because you all have an About Me page. And so this is the line for About Me. If I hit edit, which is sort of my instinct to do, this is going to pop up. And this is not what you want, right? This does not edit your page. This is about page creation. But what it is about, and you can see these things here that are called meta tags, metadata page title and metadata description. When you go to, I'm going to do this as a Google search. See these little tiny paragraphs underneath the Google search when you come up? This is what those are. And so this is your way to start talking to somebody really earlier than they expect you to be able to talk to them. So my meta page descriptions are these paragraphs. If I were to search, well, I don't want to call anybody out. If I were to search any other agent who hasn't customized this, this is going to be what Howard Hanna wrote for you. And every single Howard Hanna agent is going to have the same one. Howard Hanna, welcomes you to the leader in Northeast Ohio in buying and selling homes, full service, blah, 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 brokerage. But you can go into here and change them to be what you want to say about yourself. And so if someone were to search Howard Hanna Lakewood office agents, something like that, 10 agents are going to show up. 9 of them are going to have that same description, and then mine is going to be different. And hopefully that catches somebody's eye, right? And they say, well, this person knows a little bit more. When you write these, it is very important that you write them in a paragraph conversational style. This should not be real estate manager, period, top office, period, located in Lakewood, Ohio, period. It should be a paragraph, a very small paragraph about who I am. That is what Google wants. And we give Google what they want. We don't not give Google what they want. And I joke about that, but I need everyone to understand that we are amateurs when it comes to this. And so when Google tells us this is how it should be, just say, yes, Google, I agree. Don't fight it. So that is what you would be doing on.
Could you please give an example of what you might write in there for an agent, not a manager, not a teacher, not a instructor?
I mean, if you look at what I have over here, it's these would be your ideas. I mean, it would just be like top 15 reasons to choose me as your agent, or, like one of the taglines that we use in Lakewood at the office is serving Northeast Ohio, but specializing in Lakewood. You want keywords to be in there. So the words that people might be searching for, like realtor, Howard Hanna, buying and selling a home, those are the words, because I don't know if you can see on here, but you can see that they're highlighted and they're bold, because those are the words that I searched. So you want to keep keywords in mind, top, if you're a seller looking to get top money for, listing your home, I'm the realtor for you. So now I've got, top money, selling, listing, realtor, all those keywords in there. And you can see mine is not very long. It's probably like 2 sentences long. So you just, you're trying to get the most out of it. But the important thing to take away is that it has to be a sentence. It can't just be keywords. It can't be top realtor, Northeast Ohio, listing, selling your home. It has to be, are you interested in selling your home? I'm the lister you want to work with in Northeast Ohio. All right, so that is this edit button for the most part. So I'm going to stick with About Me, and I'm going to go to View and Edit Content. And what you're going to see open up is actually my webpage that we've already looked at. But you can see up here on this top, because I'm logged into Gohana, it's giving me an editable version of it. So if I were to put my cursor in here, I could just start typing. And that's how you actually change this About Me page. And if you've ever worked with Publisher or Word, any Microsoft Office product, that's sort of how this whole thing operates. It's based on the same principles of it. This toolbar pops open, and you can see you know what most of these things mean: bold, italic, underline, strike through, where your alignment is, bullet points, numbers, if you were going to have a big indent, font sizes, colors, those are all very simple. Everyone should be familiar with the hyperlink button now, what the insert image button looks like. And then this button over down here, this is the embed button, which we'll talk about, and that's how you're going to get video into whatever you're doing. So if you are taking notes, the note that you want to write down right now, because you're going to ask me inevitably, is what size are these images? Because I don't know what size an image to put in here. And what I can tell you is that they are 1080 pixels wide. So obviously this one is, the height is different than this one, but the width is what matters if you want it to cover the whole, top bar or cover the whole thing. If I had to guess, this is probably 1080 by 300, and I'm just going to take a guess because I tried to figure it out. I couldn't figure it out. So that's my guess is, oh, I'm sorry. It's 1800, not 1080, 1800. Numbers mixed up. So the way, I'm just going to do some questions that I always get. Hey, how did I create this image where there's all these pictures? I just did this in Canva. So Canva is incredibly easy, and I'm just going to go over there. And even if you're not using this, there's a free version of it you can use. You can do this on Publisher, but just show you how easy it is. I'm going to hit Create a Design. I'm going to do Custom Size right here. And then it's going to ask me how wide do I want it? 1800 by 300. And now I have that banner that I can just make pictures out of. It could be one picture, it could be text, it could be whatever you want. And then when I'm done with that, I save that as a JPEG, and then I'll show you what to do with it. And this is not a Canva class, so I'm not going to get derailed. I'm not going to let myself do that, but that is how I did that. Same thing with this. This is just that same size with just some weird shape graphic they had to break it up. And then this one is 1800 by, I don't know, 800, I guess. It would be my guess. And you'll have to sort of mess around with what you're looking for, but knowing that 1800 across is going to be really helpful to you, or else you're going to keep creating it and trying to figure out, how do I get it centered? It's distorted. Just know that 1800. Okay. So when you look at your About Me page, and this is where everyone should be starting. If you don't have something that you're happy with, this is your homework. This is what you want to fix. Creating a custom page is awesome, but this is more important than anything else on your entire chrismary.com, because people come to it and you get business from it. I mean, just in the office alone, I can think of 3 or 4 situations where, the agent said to the client that called them, like, how did you pick me? And they're like, well, I looked at your profile on the website and I thought you were the person that I wanted to work with. So this is really important. So again, I'm on Design 2. So you can see over here on the left-hand side, there is an opportunity to change that image. So one more thing that you can do to customize. So you can make a nice little graphic about yourself. You could put a lovely review here. You could do pictures of 2020's proof of success, all of the houses that you sold in 2020 in one image. This size right here is 600 by, it's 600 by 900 roughly. The 600 is important. So 600 is the pixels wide that it is. The 900 is a little bit less important because if it's short, it would just end right here. It's not going to be distorted or sort of look misplaced. The 600 pixels wide is what's really important right there. All right, before I go on, I am going to stop and see if there are any questions.
There was just the one question about approval requests. So the managers approve them. So sometimes if you are knowing that you're going to be working on it for a little while, let your manager know so that way they can, make sure that they're by their computer or be expecting it to go ahead and approve those.
Yeah, what I actually tell everybody in Fast Start, I was the most annoying agent in the entire world. I would change this and I would want my changes approved right away. I would call Mark at like 10 o'clock on a Friday night and be like, Mark, I made website changes. Can you approve it? I suggest you not be that way now that I'm a manager. But so the way we get an email actually when you make changes that need approval, but we don't get it right away. And so I tell the agents in my office, if you've made some changes and you want me to approve it, like just drop me a text or drop me an email and I'll go in there as soon as I can. It might not be right away, but I'll go in there as soon as I can. And it might be before that email comes out from the system saying that these changes need to be approved. But actually, Rob, that brings me to something that I didn't talk about that's really important. So let's say I made some changes on here and I'm going to change this to 30 because it's never been changed since I began. So I just made a change on there. So it is really important that I hit this save content button right here. It is something that as an agent, I always forgot to do. And then I would navigate away from it. And guess what? Everything is gone. So you hit save content and you can see in the bottom right, a little thing that popped up and said it was saved. You want to make sure that you see that because sometimes it says upload failed. And so if you navigate away, again, you're going to have to do everything that you did over again. If you are writing your bio, I do not suggest that you write it in this creation mode. Write it in your email, write it on a Word document and save it there, and then copy and paste it and bring it over. Because there is nothing worse than writing this wonderful bio and you're like, I nailed it, I got it, I'm so happy, and you forget to hit save, or you forget to hit this top button that says publish page. Which I just did. So that should update everything. And if I was an agent, when I hit publish page, that is when my manager gets the approval. That's when the process of my manager getting the approval request is initiated. I might not get it right away, but now it's in the system and I will get an email that says it. So that saved button is so important. I can't even stress that enough. I have spent hours and hours and hours not saving and rebuilding and not saving and rebuilding. So even if you're working on this, if you're creating content, make sure it's saved somewhere else. If you're working on this as like your task, maybe even put yourself a Post-it note on your screen that says, make sure to save, because that is a step that you will forget to do. Okay. So that is the About Me page. It's already been created. You don't really have to do much with it. Just close a couple of these. So now we're going to go back to this agent content pages. And let's say that you want to create a custom page. And I will warn you, the first couple times you do this, it's frustrating because it is something that doesn't really work the way you would think it would work sometimes. It's not built for dummies. But up here in this top corner, there is a button that says Add New Page. So when you click that, here's our friendly content page maintenance page again. And you don't know what to do with a lot of this stuff, right? You're just like, well, I don't know. The first thing is know that everything you type here will be visible to the public. So don't call anything a quirky name or, start to be a comedian here because they're going to be able to see this. So let's pretend I'm a hockey mom. I am not a hockey mom. Both of my kids are nerds. But let's pretend I am a hockey mom and I want to have a page about Lakewood youth hockey updates. So that's my page title. And then I'm going to enter the page name again right here. And this is what comes up on the backslash. So maybe I'm going to make it a little bit shorter. Lakewood Youth Hockey, that's what that would stand for. My metadata page title, again, would be that same Lakewood Youth Hockey updates. And my meta description would be, you know, whatever. Lakewood Youth Hockey details, schedules, game photos, and more. Because again, those are the words. I'm gonna have to redo that. I hate my computer. Those are the words that people would search: Lakewood Youth Hockey schedule, Lakewood Youth Hockey, game scores, Lakewood Youth Hockey photos. So I wanted to make sure that I had them in there. So when I save that, I'm not going to redo all of that, but when I save that, I'm going to click save, and then I go back, and then that page is going to be here. It is not, because I didn't save it before I went away. So we are going to jump over to, I thought I had a blank page here. This one's blank. I choose HH. So I just created that. So you could see I choose HH, I choose HH. Agents in their own words describe why they choose to pair with Howard Hanna. So I've never done anything with this page yet. You should not have to do this step right here, but when I navigate away, it takes me back to the beginning of the dashboard. So that page was created freshly, and now I want to build that page. So it's two different steps: create the page, now build the page. So create the page is just that one page. It's very simple. You do your description, you do your page name, and you save it. And now you're not going to go back there. Now you go back to this dashboard and click View Edit Content. And so this is the page that I created. The title is there, that's it, but no other information. When I click into this box, that toolbar opens up, and now I start to create a page. I can take my text and I can center it. I can make it larger. I could change the color. I can, basically anything that you would do in a Word document, right? So this is not hard, this part of it. I can take a picture now. So I said this is going to be a place where there's pictures. So I'm going to put my cursor here and I have it centered in the middle. And then I'm going to click on this little icon that says Insert Image. Now I have pictures loaded up into my GoHanna already, but you probably don't at this point. So then I would click Upload, and my file is going to open up, and I'm just going to pick I'm going to pick a random picture that I have made. I'm going to choose that. And one of two things is going to happen right now. You're either going to get an error and it's not going to work, or it's going to work. It has to be a JPEG photo. It can't be a PNG photo. So I probably picked a PNG because that's what I save most of my things in. So I'm going to pick this JPEG right here and see how it worked. And the last one didn't work. And it's going to be put in here alphabetically based on what that photo was called. I actually don't remember what that photo was called. Oh, right here, 36 buyers. So then if that's the picture that I want, I hit select, and then I hit insert. And now my picture is inserted into my page. If I want to do a video, it's a little bit different. So videos have to be hosted somewhere. You cannot load a video directly into your chrismary.com. you have to host it on YouTube, and then we're going to embed the YouTube code on here. So let me open YouTube. I should have done this already because this is one of the websites I'm not real good with my password on. Fingers crossed. Yeah. I'm going to stop share. I'm going to go to a different browser because that is where I have. All right, so you have to have an account in YouTube to be able to do this. So you have to have a Gmail account to be able to have an account in YouTube. It's like a chain. But I can see that I have, so these are my videos that I have uploaded here. That was the training page for Howard Hanna, which if you're not aware of, has really amazing resources. So let's take this video that I made that I used in the open house class the other day, 5 things to get accepted. I've already uploaded this to YouTube. I am now going to be looking on here for the thing that says embed code. And I'm going to be honest with you, I actually don't know where it is. My favorite part of all of these things is that they change all the time and they never look the same. Watch me struggle for a minute here. I'm going to get shareable link. No. Oh, okay. All right. So I'm going to start over and just show you where I got it. So I click on the actual video here. So I'm viewing it on YouTube, and this is a video that I uploaded that we put into a Hanna presentation. If I go to where it says share, see this very first button that says embed? I'm going to click on that, and I am copying that whole thing. So you just click on it, it highlights, and you Control C or you Command C if you're on a Mac. And now I've got that copied. Now I'm going to go back to the dashboard page that I was working on. And my cursor is down here. I'm going to center it. So you can see that it's centered. And now I'm going to go where it has these 2 little arrows. And I'm going to hit that button. And that is going to put in. So now I'm looking at the code right now. I am going to not touch anything where my cursor is, and I'm going to paste that code in that I just copied. And we're going to keep our fingers crossed that it worked. So I didn't put it in the right place. I put it before the code and not afterwards, but you can see now that my video is embedded. Now I have not figured out how to fix the fact that it's not centered. I had talked with somebody in marketing, and I, for the life of me, cannot get this thing to center. Even if you put the cursor before it, even if you highlight it, it just won't center, and I don't know why. But don't let perfection be a crutch for you. You know, having this show up is better than not having this show up, right? And we will keep working on being able to get that centered. So now if I wanted to see what this looked like, because I'm still in edit mode, I haven't saved anything yet. I would first save. I'm always going to save. So now I'm saved. And now at this very top, there's a thing that says view live version. I'm going to click on that. It's not published yet, but this is what it would look like. Oh, it's because it's not published yet. It's not showing. So I'll go back to edit mode. I'm going to hit I'm not going to hit publish page because I don't really want this to publish my mumbo jumbo. But when I hit publish, then it'll go to my manager and they will ask for approval. I mean, they will give me their approval. So I just covered a lot. What kind of questions do you have on that? Because that's a little technical and it can be a little scary.
One question we had in the chat was, do you recommend writing your bio in the first person or the third person?
It's preference, whichever you want to do. It's just whatever you choose, be consistent with it. You know, don't swap back from first to third. I wrote mine in third. A lot of people have theirs written in first, and they're just as effective.
Chris,
Yes.
with that example that you just gave, so there's no way that we can proof what we've done before it's published?
Well, that is proof. You know, like, so with the screen that you're working on, it's how it's going to look. The only thing that's not going to look the same is that this bar won't be there. So this is where you do your proof. So I have saved it. So if I wanted my manager to look at it for proofing purposes or anything like that, she would, or he would be able to see it at that point. There would be no value really in having it go to like a live, not live kind of thing for proof, because it's going to look exactly the same as it looks right here. If that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions on this?
So Chris, Rob wanted to make sure, he said, so basically you can work on your page over a few days and then save it as you go. And then when you're all finished with the changes, then you can hit publish, correct?
Yes. Yeah, that is actually one of the great things about this. Until you hit publish, you have to save along the way, but until you hit publish, it is for your eyes only. And actually, I'm not 100% sure that if you're working on it, your manager could see it. If you don't have it, if you haven't hit publish, so that's not a 100% answer. But yes, you can keep working on it, keep revising it, have somebody look over your shoulder and check it out, definitely.
And I think that's one of the great things too, because sometimes you may be working on it today and then you might say, hey, you know what, I want fresh eyes tomorrow on it. Let me think about it. Then tomorrow you read it with a different viewpoint and then make sure that's how you want it. Or maybe you've thought of something else. So yes, I think that's great.
Yeah. So let me ask you, does that all, because I'm a pretty techie person and I kind of enjoy doing these things, does that seem overwhelming to those of you who maybe aren't in the same mindset that I'm in?
Yes.
Okay. So I think that my advice, because I want you to do it and I don't want it to be so overwhelming that you don't do it. That's the time where you carve out the hour or 2 hours at the office and, you know, you time block, this is what I'm going to do, because that way there are people there to help you, because I could see how you might get frustrated with that and walk away from it. And it's easy to walk away from it when you're at home at your dining room table. But if you're at the office and you've time blocked that and you say to your manager, this is what I'm doing, and your manager might struggle through it with you. Not everybody loves this stuff. I say this in every single class I teach. We are all good at different things as managers. Like this silly little thing just happens to be the thing that I enjoy the most. So as a result of it, I'm good at it. But if you're sitting there at the office and if you call IT could actually help you with this, believe it or not. You know, IT isn't always for broken passwords and getting the printer connected. IT can help you with this. There are people there that are skilled that will help you walk through. You know, the managers can always reach out to the people in the marketing department if they have specific questions, or God forbid, they could reach out to me if they have to. But if you time block it, you're more likely to get it done at the office rather than at home, would be the suggestion. And then the other thing is, if the idea of putting it all into GoHanna, actually creating that website is really hard for you, don't start there. Start with, this is the paragraph that I want, and write it somewhere else. This is the picture that I want, and create it somewhere else. And when you have everything that you need to load it up, it's going to seem a lot less daunting than doing all of that at once. You know, so compartmentalize it. Make the graphic. That's maybe this week's goal. The next week's goal is, this is the paragraph. You know, And then you have all your pieces and parts, and I can promise you it's much less overwhelming than it is right now, because right now we're talking about writing it and making pictures for it and creating it and publishing it and getting it approved, just one step at a time. That's all you have to do. And then the other thing that I would want to remind everybody when it comes to this is if you're on Canva and you pay for it, you have access to some stock photos as a part of your membership fee. But if you don't, it's really important that when you use a photo in these situations, that you're using a photo that you own the rights to, that you have permission to use. And on GoHanna, in the marketing tab, there are folders and folders of photos that you can use now. They didn't used to be there. And I'll show you real quick where they are, because I don't think a lot of people know where they are. And I use them a lot, actually, as just filler photos. And they're great for Instagram if there's a message that you want to use, but you don't have a picture to convey it. So I'm going to go back into GoHanna. And the easiest way that I find it, and there might be an easier way to find it, is I actually use the search bar and I type in social media. There's a way to get to it under the Documents tab or the Marketing tab, but this is sort of my shortcut that I use. It's loading very slowly. I did not close all of the tabs on my computer, so it's probably watching a movie somewhere in a window.
And as this is coming up, one of the most important things is just showing up and taking that first step, walking through the door. You've done that all by, even coming to this session right now. So while it's fresh in your mind, block out some of that time while you're thinking about it. And you're not going to break it. If you sit there and say, okay, I'm going to take that focus time, let me play with it. I think it's just that fear that sometimes that holds us back. So and don't go for perfection right away. Just get some of the basic information in there so you get a good feel of it, because you can always, improve upon it later. But I think while it's fresh in your mind over the next couple of days, block out that time now and just do it, because you're in that mode. And if you go into next week or, I'm going to try this next week, that moment might be gone when you're out of the mode. So try it in the next 48 hours and you'll have a lot greater success with it.
And don't start big. I showed you all these different pages, which are a variety of complexity. Some of them are really, really simple. This 5 questions to ask before you buy a home, it's one video. That's it. Start with that. Start with just doing a picture. Do a little market report. And this market report can be anything. This looks complicated. This is a template that I created over, a few hour period. And the only thing I ever swap out on this is this chart, which is just an export from the MLS. It's not, I'm not even making that chart. I'm doing a search on the MLS. And then I swap this information out once a year-ish, because that is like census data that I pull out of RPR. But this whole page right here, that's just a picture, so you can start with something that's completely simple. All right, so I wanted to show you the social media. So I typed social media into the search bar and all these weird things came up, right? I don't need any of those. But there's a tab up here that says Documents. And again, this might not be the easiest way to find this, but it is how I find it. And now I have all of Howard Hanna's social media campaigns. I have folders for all of, the things that they've been working really hard on over the past year. And you can see like the dates that these things were changed. They were all 2020. So these are new, fresh images, and you can just pull things off of there. There is a folder in here that, let me see if I can find it. So you can see all of those images when you click in. And now I'm in this chain of documents, marketing campaigns. That's how you're supposed to get to it. But now I can just go to marketing campaigns and I have these folders of everything that we have. And they're really easy pictures to just to grab and use. And one of the folders actually just is blank pictures of houses. I'm not gonna try to figure out which one it is right now. So I think that that is what I wanted to show you as far as the website goes. Did anybody have any specific questions? And there were some questions about email signatures, and I will answer those because we have a few minutes. Did anybody have any other specific questions about just what we did or what I didn't cover that maybe you wanted to know?
I'm
No,
looking for
you're,
the-
okay.
Well, I've got another question. Well, you're finding where the logos are, but also a question on learning to do Facebook ads. And one thing that Facebook requires is a privacy statement. Do we have a privacy statement that we can use?
Yes. So when you're running ads on Facebook, especially lead generation ads, you have to have a privacy statement in the bottom, and you could write your own, but I wouldn't recommend it. Honestly, what I do at that point is I actually just put in howardhanna.com. And the reason is because I know that somewhere on howardhanna.com, there is a privacy statement. You can actually go and find the privacy statement on howardhanna.com and share that specific link, but I just put howardhanna.com because it satisfies the compliance for Facebook purposes. So howardhanna.com, if you go to the very bottom of basically any page, any website, there's going to be something where it has like the privacy statement. And so if I were to sort of stumble around here, I would guess, I don't know, it could be under About Us, it could be under About Media Room, or it could be under Help. But instead, I just share this page. If you want to search for that privacy statement, you are more than welcome to get it specifically. But what I'm doing, I feel covers my butt, and that's good. That's good enough for me. Oh, here, probably legal info. If you see this very, very tiny legal info. There you go. Privacy policy. Yay. So you could share that if you wanted. The other question was on logos.
Logos, and then Pat Gary asked, could you send again the width of the different banners and side images, et cetera?
Yeah, the main banner is 1800 pixels wide. And then that little side picture for design 2 is 600 pictures wide. If you're doing the whole thing, it's 600 to, it's somewhere between 850 and 900 pixels. That's what works. When you're doing the full page across, you know, depending on how big you want it to be. Rob, the easiest way to find logos for me is I type in the word logos, which I know seems pretty simple. I'm on a different browser though, so there's a fair chance I'm going to get kicked out. And so you here, now you're like, which logos are ours? Because I bet you I'm going to open up one of these folders and it's going to be like William E. Wood logos. We're going to try the one that's been updated the most recently. Oh, JC Meyer logos. So I knew I would pick the wrong one. So one of those folders right there has logos in it. And once you find it, oh, Kuznetsky, Lockhart logos. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can't find it this way anymore. Wouldn't that be funny? Maybe I should pick the oldest one. The Roar Agency. Oh, no. All right, let me go to the oldest one here.
And when you do find it, save it, so you don't have to
Yes.
search.
That's when you do find it, save them. They're all here. So, okay, hold on. Maybe we are, maybe we're not under, oh, here we go. So logos, one of them just goes into this. And so you can see all the different logos. Howard Hanna Real Estate Services, the different types, EPS, JPEG, PDF, and PNG. If you want something with a transparent background, you want a PNG logo. And that's where most people ask me questions, is like, how do I get it to have a clear background? That is the difference between a JPEG and a PNG for our purposes. And so now you've got all your different colored logos. Really, the logo that they want you to use is the one that has Howard Hanna Real Estate Services underneath it. The real estate services is very important to some of the people whose last name end in Hanna. I just want you to know that. And then the one that you want to try to be using the most is the one that has what we call the bugs on it. And so that's your realtor symbol and your fair housing logo. Now, sometimes if you're working on something that has a green background, obviously those bugs are going to go away. So you can't always have that, but here's a good sort of source for figuring out, for finding something that's going to work. Yeah, and I would recommend saving them to your computer. I would recommend saving them to your phone if you use certain programs for like posting pictures from your phone. You know, put a couple of these on your phone so it's accessible. If you use Canva, have a folder in Canva that has all of these. Like those are things that I sort of do like as task days, you know, like once a week I go and I put a bunch of pictures in a folder that I know I'm going to use throughout the week because I only want to do that once. And so I have days, mine are more monthly, but where that would be a task that I would do. All right, any other questions so far?
Are hashtags something we should be using?
Well, when you are on, when you're posting something on social media, yes. When you're on your chrismary.com, your custom website, no. You know, we always laugh, the greatest gift that the company ever gave us was hashtag home happens here. It's probably one of the most effective. It tells the story. It's great. You know, if you look at the number of times it's been used, it's highly ranked. But yeah, you should be using hashtags specifically on Instagram. If you want to use them on Facebook as well, you can use them. People do search via that. All right, the other question that I had got beforehand was about signatures and email signatures. And I'm going to tell you my thoughts a little bit on email signatures first. And it's funny because right in the question that somebody asked me was the problem with email signatures. When you put too much in your email signature, if somebody's not reading your email on the right type of device, it's going to come up as this like little question mark, right? Like the image isn't going to show up. So if you want to have your photo in your email signature, you can do that. If you want to have your slogan or like a logo or, you know, anything that's a image, you can do that. But don't make all of your contact information a part of the image, because there's a really good chance when somebody reads your email from a certain type of phone, that image isn't going to show up. So your signature should be your information. And then if you want to have stuff underneath it as an image, you can. You can link your social media websites right in your signature. More importantly, you could link your Real Scout in your signature. You could link your testimonial tree, leave a review page in your signature, or you could actually link right back to the check out my reviews page right in your signature. And I can't show that to you now because that's going to be much more computer based. So I work off of a Mac. So if I were to show you that right now, it would not look how it looks on your PC or on your Windows laptop. So, you know, basically you're just, when you go into the create a signature function in Outlook, it's not hard to do. But again, if you're having trouble doing it, do it at the office, because somebody next to you might know how to do it as well. And your manager might know how to do it. And again, IT can even help you with that. But it's too hard just with being on a Mac. It never looks the same way. What I can tell you about your email signature is you have to make sure that you have a signature created on every device that you write emails on. So if you have a signature created on your Outlook software program that you use on your laptop, you also need to create one on your phone. It's not going to go over. If I send you an email from my phone, it's most likely going to be signed CM because I've never put a signature into my phone for Outlook. But if I send it to you from my Mac, it's going to have all my beautiful links and it's going to be wonderful. If I send it to you from the resource center here at the computer, it's going to be okay. Not going to be the same as on my Mac, you know, because you have to do one on every device. Any other sort of techie questions? It doesn't have to be website. No? You got me. All right. Well, we've gone over an hour, which I figured we would be somewhere between an hour and an hour and a half. I did record this. I'm just making sure. I thought I recorded a class once and I didn't record it. That did not go over well. It was an all company class and everybody wanted it. But I did record this, so I will send this out to everybody who was in the class, and we can send it out to the managers as well. But if you don't have any other questions, I think that we've given you enough to work with.
Yeah, this has been very, very helpful. Thank you, Chris. Absolutely appreciate it. I think the best compliment you could give Chris is to actually take action from it. So make sure
Oh,
you try
no.
to do.
The best compliment you can give me is to go to my website and leave me a review about being a great manager and knowing all of these things. It's truly the best
Yeah.
compliment you can give.
Perfect.
And then put it into action when you're done.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.